As someone who was born in the year 2000, I missed out on the 90s, and because I missed out on the 90s, I missed out on a lot. I had cable as a kid, but I never watched Toonami. I never grew up with Pokemon or Dragon Ball Z. I never grew up with Rugrats or all that, or the golden eras of Cartoon Network and Nickelodeon. All I had was my Nintendo 64, Nick Gas, Jetix, G4, and whatever Sesame Street tape I had lying on my bedroom floor. Yes, I was a messy kid, and yes, I was watching Sesame Street on VHS at 8 years old. A little embarrassing to admit, but whatever. Speaking of Toonami, as anime boomed in the 90s stateside, one subgenre boomed with it, and that was the mecha genre. There was Gundam, Neon Genesis Evangelion, what else? Well, I forgot. I don't watch anime. I'm not a weeb. Anyway, since mecha anime was popular, of course, there would be an endless sea of mecha video games. And there was one that I actually played as a kid, and that was Slave Zero. The game came out at the tail end of 1999 for the PC and the Sega Dreamcast in early 2000, and was developed and published by Infogrames North America, aka Accolade, aka the guys who made Bubsy.
What could possibly go wrong?
The box art screams 90s. Let's see, we got this giant mech staring into your soul while pointing a giant Uzi at you, explosions behind him, futuristic font, swirly armadillo, Japanese signs, you have it all. And in the back, we got that stereotypical 90s dude. It's 500 years in the future, man and machine are virtually one, blah, 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 and kick some serious ass. That's not family friendly. The game was released to mixed reviews, with some critics praising the weapon selection and the cool boss battles, but criticized the game for its lack of replay value. Most of the criticism went towards the Dreamcast version, which I will admit, that was the version I played as a kid. And the reviewers were right, this version is not good at all. The frame rate is awful, the controls are awkward, there's no music for some reason. It's a bit of a mess. Now the PC version is where it's at, and that's the version I played. And play I did, and I have some things to say. Sit back and relax, here is my review of Slave Zero. So the game is set 500 years into the future. There's this evil guy named Khan who has all this power over all the Asian conglomerates, just the Asian ones for some reason. And he just took over Mega City S19, I assume that's where we're in. So he has this huge evil army of mechs called slaves that are grown from cyber embryos and powered by some mysterious growth compound known as dark matter. Now there's this resistance group trying to take this guy down, and they're called the Guardians. They stole a slave unit known as Slave Zero and forcefully stuffed one of their fighters, Chan, into the slave so he can save the world. Kingy. Right off the bat, we're wreaking havoc on the city. While you're gawking over the 90s PC gameness of the opening levels, we're causing a lot of car crashes, and we can brutally murder random civilians by shooting them point blank and chucking them at a wall. God damn, you're a monster. Weapons-wise, we got a giant-ass Uzi and a rocket launcher, which we can upgrade both of them down the road as we explore all the levels. We shoot down a lot of robots, all while this voice in our head starts yapping.
Take control of Slave Zero with your mind and with your soul.
Charles Martinet voices that guy, by the way. Just wanted to point that out. You end up taking out some generators, you fight this mini-boss here, then you're on your way to infiltrate SovKhan's lab to steal some embryos for yourself. And you do more shooting, and that's pretty much all you do in this game. Not that I have a problem with it. This game is really fast-paced. You are shooting down enemies almost constantly, but what's satisfying is that you can use both your machine gun and your rocket launcher at the same time, and that can deal a lot of damage, especially to the bigger enemies. But in this game, you don't want to stay in one place all the time. You gotta keep moving, strafe around, dodge the bullets, and you're Gucci. Now the levels aren't that big and they're linear in design, but I dig the whole futuristic vibe. But you gotta be careful traversing these because later on you gotta deal with bottomless pits, and sometimes the enemies will fling you across the map, sending you to an untimely demise. So you go in, take down this giant ship, and later on you're fighting your first boss, Argulus. Here you just shoot off his armor and spam your weapons at him. Once he's taken care of, you head into the sewers, take out more enemy slaves, including giant robot spiders, and then you try to save your base by taking out more enemies. After that, Slave Zero roars because robots do that in the future, apparently. And then you're trying to escort this convoy through the sewers, all while, you guessed it, shooting down more enemies. After a while, you're fighting this robot named Sanguinar. This boss fight actually switches things up a little bit. You're climbing this spiral room, shooting down this guy, all while toxic goop rises from the ground. Now, I had an issue with this boss fight. So when you get to the top of the room, there's a locked door. The Guardians are trying to unlock it, but on my first go at it, the door just wouldn't open. I ran out of most of my ammo and I got BTFO'd by this giant death beam. That's fun. So I don't know if the door unlocks when it wants to or what, but that was annoying as shit. It eventually unlocks and you go even higher, jumping on these beams while shooting the shit out of Sanguinar, and after a while he eventually goes down. The next boss is Revenant Prime. He's one of those flying serpent robot thingies. Shooting at him is a bitch and you have a finite amount of ammo. I almost ran out, so I had to spam rockets until he died. Now this kind of teases you on what's to come, not in terms of enemies, but for ammo. I'll talk about that later. So now you're at this base and you'll probably run out of health really quickly here. The robots here will keep pummeling you and pummeling you. It was a miracle that I actually defeated this robot with only 7 HP. After that, I saved. By the way, save, because if you die, you start the level from the very beginning. Loading a save puts you back where you last left off, so you don't have to do all that shit, thank God. The next mini bosses are Pegasus 1 and 2. Both of these made me want to punch a hole in my monitor. You're supposed to shoot them down, but enemies start to spawn in and try to take your health out, and your health goes down quick. It got so bad, one of the enemies launched me out of the map into a bottomless pit. Like, come on, man, not cool. After we get that taken care of, you gotta defend these endoskeletons from the enemy slaves. After that, we gotta take down more generators while these robots shoot their death lasers at me. God damn, dude, another pain in the ass. As you can tell, there are some huge spikes in difficulty, and I'm playing on medium. It's a bitch. Then you're fighting this giant spider robot named Malor. This was another pain in the ass. Ammo is again finite, so it's really easy to run out. However, Malor ends up giving you this badass black hole weapon thing, which will let you defeat him. But then Khan starts to talk to you, and somehow that makes you pass out? I don't know why. After a power nap, you're on to more vertical platforming and shooting. Now, this section pissed me off a little, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, it was all fine and dandy until I started to shoot this guy from afar. When I tried to do that, the game crashed. And when I tried it again, it crashed again. Why? So just a heads up, don't kill enemies from far away. The game will just crash. I don't know, man. It was the 90s. This shit don't work on modern Windows, man. I don't fucking know. After doing some more shooting, you'll find yourself outside Khan's palace, and you gotta take down 3 deadly laser robot things that'll take your health out in a snap. So the best way I could take these guys out is to hide behind the wall. But don't go too close to the wall, because even with it right in front of your face, you can still take damage from explosions. Logic. Now we're in the palace and you're wreaking havoc like the badass you are, and there's one room where you have to take out another set of deadly laser robots. I encountered a funny glitch here, so I died, loaded my save, spawned invisible for some reason, and then when I entered the room, I got teleported to another room in the map. Why? I don't know. And then when I got back to the room I was supposed to go in, it's blocked off, soft locking me. Tell you what, man, this game is fucking jank. It is jank. After all that mess, you're in the sewers, and I think it's kind of built like a maze. You take down a shit ton of spider bots, and eventually you find your way to SovKhan, who turns himself into a giant mech. So this is the final boss, and let me tell you, I made a mistake. A huge mistake. You're shooting at this guy, your shots barely land, he barely takes damage, and you run out of ammo. You pick up some more ammo, shoot him some more, he's not even halfway dead yet, and you run out of ammo again. You repeat this one more time, and eventually you're completely out of ammo, and there's no more pickups. It's atrocious. The game punishes you for not picking up the right weapons before the boss fight. Apparently there was an area filled with weapons before the fight, but according to this other review I saw on YouTube, the 2 weapons you need aren't there. So you're fucked. I don't know why, this may be my autistic brain being autistic, but this is kind of making me think of that one scene from Kung Pao Enter the Fist. So the game is Ling, I'm the chosen one. So the game is telling me,
he is well protected. It's impossible. You'll never make it. Never make it. Ever make it. Never make it. Never make it. You'll never make it. Ever. Don't you see you can make it?
And then I tell the game,
I implore you to reconsider.
and instead of the game telling me,
Okay.
the game turns into Betty and basically says, "Meh, you'll never beat this. Meh." So, you know what I did? I cheated. Yeah, I'll admit it. I cheated. I used the weapons and ammo cheat. I did it, and I'll do it again. If the game is gonna punish me for something that wasn't obvious and something that I didn't even know I had to do, I'm not playing this fairly. Infogram can go fuck themselves, but even doing this was torture. After enabling the cheats, I saved. I had to go to work, so I quit the game. When I got home later that night, I loaded up my save, and when I got outside, the game kept crashing. I loaded my save again. It crashed. I loaded it again. Crashed. What a load of shit. So for me to get past this, I actually loaded the game's original EXE that shipped with the disc. Up until this point, I was playing the fan-made Direct 3D patch, which increases the FOV, adds some graphical features, improves the Direct 3D support, and so on. But I did beat the boss with the original EXE, but not without major performance issues. For some reason, I kept getting major lag spikes for the whole fight, and it was just really annoying because, of course, a game from 1999 brings a PC built 20 years later to its knees. So thankfully I overcame this and beat SovKhan's ass, but you might be asking, Ethan, why aren't you showing any gameplay footage right now? You ready for this? Ready for this? OBS didn't hook the game, so all I recorded was a black screen. And then when I tried to re-record that footage later, guess what? The game kept crashing with the original EXE. I loaded it again. It crashed. Again. This goddamn fucking game, dude. I'm getting so fucking sick of this. So you know what? Fuck it. Here's some gameplay I ripped off YouTube. Busty here shows us how it's actually done. They're using both the split rockets and the black hole gun, and surprisingly, they didn't run out of ammo. And they were playing on hard mode. Like, that's better than what I can do. And that's how Slave Zero ends, with a whimper. So what did I think of Slave Zero? Well, despite all the technical issues I had a lot of fun with the game, I'm not gonna lie. It's fast-paced action, the levels were decent, the game looks really good for the time thanks to the Ecstasy engine, the bosses were great despite their varying difficulty, the soundtrack was kick-ass, but there wasn't really that much of a story, and what little story it had was bland. No character development or anything. Slave Zero is just a mindless drone blindly taking orders, but he is a badass, I will admit. The audio mixing wasn't that great either, and the technical issues just killed me. But I guess that's what I get for playing a game from the 90s on modern hardware. Overall, I think it's a little hidden gem of the 90s, and I think it's worth a shot. That is, if you can play this properly and not forget about those weapons before the final boss. Slave Zero gets a 3 out of 5. Now the game is available on Steam and GOG if you want to play this, but you might want to patch it with either the Direct 3D patch or Pixoto's patch. I couldn't get Pixoto's patch to work, but if it works for you, great, but I guess I'm just unlucky. Also, seriously, stick with the PC version. The Dreamcast version just doesn't show the game's full potential, and it just sucks. It's just not worth it. Also, a quick note, a prequel to Slave Zero came out in 2024 titled Slave Zero X. And instead of it being a TPS, it's a 2.5D hack and slash. I don't know if it's my cup of tea, but if you're interested in a video on it, let me know and I'll do it. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video as much as I did. If you did, give this video a thumbs up. And if you are new to the channel, subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss anything. If you're looking for more ENunnGaming, check out my review of Amy, one of the worst horror games of the 2010s. Have a good one, y'all, and I'll see you in 2026. Bye.